This video is a long time coming. I'm finally going to start showing you the process of me stripping the finish off of this guitar. If you've been around my channel, this is probably the time to skip forward because I'm going to be repeating some things that you've already heard. But if you're brand new, I have to give you a brief background. This guitar started out as an Epiphone inspired by Gibson 335 Figured top and Raspberry T burst. Of course, it had polyurethane on it, and what we're going to be talking about in this video is me kind of thinking through the process of how I was going to approach it and what methods would work. So, brief background, it was an Epiphone guitar, it still is, but the idea is for it to sort of morph into something like the Chris Cornell signature model by Gibson. Of course, that model doesn't have these block inlays, I just kind of like them. I wasn't going for an exact replica, but like I said, inspired. So I'm going to be putting together all these videos showing you the process of the changes to this guitar. Before I even stripped the finish off, I kind of modified it, did some modifications, and then of course the big thing was stripping the finish off and putting a nitro olive drab green finish on it, as you see here. Some of the other things I did, I put a Bigsby on it, if you can see it down here, put new knobs, new wiring, new bridge post, new pick guard bracket, pickup rings. I darkened the fretboard, and then up here at the neck, I reshaped the nut. I reshaped the headstock, put new tuners on. I did the Gibson logo, a veneer, a lot of things. I had to re-drill the holes for the tuners. Of course, I had to drill or fill in the holes for the tailpiece as well. So, as you can imagine, a lot of different things, but like I said, I'm going to be putting all those videos into a playlist. I've already started the playlist, and you can check it out by clicking the link in the upper part of the video. Without further ado, let's get into the start of taking the polyurethane off of this guitar. All right, it's go time. Time to strip the finish off of this thing. I've been putting it off for a while now for a number of reasons. One being just the fear of the unknown. I don't really know how this is going to go. I've done as much research as I can, reading online, looking at videos, but there's not really a lot of information out there, especially in video form, of anyone doing this with a guitar with binding. Now, a lot of people say or have videos on how to strip the polyurethane off of a guitar, but when you look at it, they're doing it to a Strat or a Tele with no binding. So yeah, just one of those factors being the fear of the unknown, not knowing what's going to happen. The other one being just the sheer amount of work that it's going to take. I know it's not going to be easy. It's going to take a lot of elbow grease and time, and patience. And the third one being is this is actually a beautiful finish. I mean, look at the flame shining through here. Someone in a factory somewhere took the time to spray this, put the sunburst on, put the clear coat on, and now I'm just going to go and ruin it. So all those things kind of factor in why I've been intrepid in trying to get this done. But now it's just time to get down to brass tacks and do it. I'm actually not going to start out by using a heat gun. Instead, I'm going to do a bit of a test with this stuff, paint stripper, as you can clearly read. Now, from what I've heard, polyurethane will basically just laugh at this. You have to have aerospace, airplane, industrial strength, whatever, paint stripper for it to work. And clearly this can't be that because I got it at a hardware store. But if I read here, I'm going to point to it. It says strips paint, latex, and polyurethane. So that gives me some hope. And then on the back, has some instructions, obviously. And then down here, it says recommended dwell time, polyurethane and acrylic, 1 hour to overnight. So that's the sit time as far as you put it on and you let it sit that amount of time. So what I'm going to do is take some of this, apply it with a paintbrush, and then cover it up with some saran wrap and let it sit for an hour, maybe overnight, check on it periodically, and then come back with a scraper like so and see how well it comes off. All right, let's do this. Now, I do want to point out that this brand of paint stripper says tough, not toxic. I don't know if you can read that, which basically means it doesn't release VOCs when it breaks down whatever you're stripping off, paint, polyurethane, whatever. I'm not sure. I'm not going to stick around and huff it, but that's what it says. So maybe it's not too terribly bad. Now, I have used this one time successfully to strip the black paint off of a Bigsby vibrato, and it took a while. It wasn't, really quick, but it did work. It was successful. So I'm just going to put this on a little bit of the top here. You're probably not going to be able to see it in the lighting that I have. And, I don't want to do a huge spot at first. I just want to get an idea if it's going to work at all. So I've got a pretty good glob on there. We're going to let it do its thing. put the saran wrap on it and then just wait. So the waiting begins. Here we go. Got a bug there. All right, so that's my spot right there. Okay, let's come back and check it in about an hour. Okay, it's been about an hour, so let's see where we're at with this. Just gonna kind of peel back the saran wrap. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. So, not really seeing any kind of effect at the moment at all. Here's zoom back out here. So yeah, just gonna cover this back up. It's gonna have to have some more time, let it set. It's kind of spread out here. It didn't stay in the kind of spot that I originally intended it to. So it's got a pretty good swath all over here, but yeah, just gonna leave it covered up, and it's about my bedtime, so I'm gonna go to bed, check it in the morning and see if it did anything, and we'll just kind of go from there, see what happens. Well, it's the next morning. It's been about 8 or 9-ish hours, I guess. So let's check on this and see if it's made any progress. I'm gonna zoom in a bit here. It feels a bit dry, but let's give it a little bit of a scrape. And nothing. Yes, the polyurethane has laughed at this paint stripper. So I don't think this is going to work. If it does, it would take more time than I would want to spend on it, just letting it sit. And like I said, I feel like it's kind of dried out a little bit, which is not great. So I'm going to take some, like a wet cloth or something damp, and just wipe this off so it doesn't continue to act or get stuck on there. And so now I think I'm going to try the heat gun route. My heat gun has two settings, as you can see here, dual temperature. Basically, it's just a low and a high. I'm going to start with low, but honestly, I think high is going to do the best job. And I'm going to keep it moving as best I can so I don't stay in one spot too long and burn or scorch the wood. I've got my scraper here. I've got a leather glove on so I don't burn myself, hopefully. So we're just going to start and see what happens.
And here we go.
I'm just curious if that's hot at all. That's a little warm. So yeah, it's a little warm. We'll keep going with the low, but again, I think I'm going to switch to the high. Yeah, I think the low setting is not quite enough temperature, so I'm going to switch to high and see if we can get something going here. I'm going to, oh, you can see a little bit of a dark spot there. I'm going to zoom in a bit here so we can see kind of how it's coming off, if it comes off. I'm gonna move this into the camera frame a little bit better. It's odd that it's getting dark like that. I don't know if it's burning, somehow burning the wood color underneath, or it's just burning and discoloring the polyurethane. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so yeah, here's what we got so far. You can see, I can see a little bit of darkening of the wood itself there. It's still pretty hot. I don't think this darker area is necessarily scorched the wood. I think it's just discolored the polyurethane. It's not really bubbling up like I had hoped. So yeah, this could be quite the task. I feel like I need something better than the scraper I'm using. It's a little bit just too wide. I feel like I need something more precise and thin. So I'm gonna keep going at this a little bit more maybe with this, but honestly, I think I need something a little bit better. I do have this guy, which is a little bit more pointed. So maybe I'll try this for a little bit. So there you go. This spot in the middle here that's kind of scorched looks way worse on camera than it does in my view here. You can see sort of layers, this outer layer being, I guess, the actually the polyurethane. And it appears that this part is bare wood. So I believe this secondary layer here would be like the sanding sealer, whatever they put on there to sort of level the surface, which is good. I was curious to know. What I thought was going to happen was the polyurethane would come off easily, and then I would be left with a very difficult layer of the sanding sealer. And if that was the case, I was just probably going to leave the sanding sealer, but it looks like it's just all going to come off. But it's not coming off super easily, and my fear is just trying to keep up with the heat gun and do this scrape at the same time, because, you know, it's applying a lot of heat, and I could just move the gun away, scrape, and I'm sure I'll get the hang of it as I go. And I kind of knew that I was going to get some scorching marks. So, you know, I'm not going to go and put a burst color on here, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to cover this up like I've talked about with the green nitrocellulose olive green. So that won't matter at all. But if you're, you know, trying to do a new burst finish, it's going to be very tricky, maybe impossible, because this stuff like this is going to happen, and it's just kind of inevitable. I'm going to keep going and hopefully have more success. All right, wow, this is making a huge mess. You probably can't see it on the camera. Well, you can a little bit. There's just flakes of polyurethane everywhere. It looks like a little explosion here with the multi-layers. But again, this part is actually down to the wood. So I'm having more success, obviously, with this guy than I was with the flat scraper. And honestly, I feel like I need something even more sort of sharp and pointed, or at least, you know, something I can use with finer detail. But I'm happy with this so far. You know, this is a big open area, so maybe different when I get around to the edges of the guitar and finer spaces. That's going to be something entirely different. But I will try to document all that stuff and keep you in the loop so you'll know how it's going. I made a little bit more progress here. I think I'm getting better at the technique. You can see over in this area, I'm not getting as much scorching on the wood, and I'll try to film a little bit of what I've been doing, kind of attacking with this tool, this scraper, at a, you know, pretty quick, hard jab while keeping the heat gun moving. So yeah, I'll just show you kind of what I've been doing.